Alright, let's see. Let's wait for this to catch up.
Poof, server combusts.
No! No,
Things
this
have
is
gone
supposed to be
horribly wrong.
perfect! This is supposed to be beautiful! Ah! Alright. Okay,
It lives, it lives.
I think everything is working. Oh my god. It's alive! Alright. So this is where the intro song would be, but obviously I haven't had time to compose one because of reasons. I mean, and stuff. So I've never done this before, so let's just jump right in.
Could
Welcome
just
to...
use the Austin Powers theme.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Benny Hill song.
Benny Hill would probably work better. Alright, but
Yeah, also
to those of you watching live and not live, welcome to the inaugural edition of Duckworks, where we talk about fractured space and whatever else we happen to rabbit trail into. Joining me today is Seraphine, Jiraiya, the Lone Ranger, and Iodon. Welcome, guys. Thank you for showing up.
hey ho.
Hello.
Hello.
I guess that leaves me. Hello.
All right. Well, somebody just got healed. Oh, what is that?
Hello.
What is that? That's that druid AoE heal. What's it called? It's
That would
bugging
be
me.
tranquility. Yes,
Tranquility,
that's my,
thank you.
Message.
Thank you. Oh god, it was gonna bug me. Anyway, alright. So, now that the WoW discussion is out of the way, let's talk about Fractured Space. So, we have a huge tournament coming up here, starting this next week. We have, what was it, 12 or 16 teams that have signed up for that?
I heard 17.
17, but they were expecting at least one to drop.
Alright. So, 17 teams worth of people. You know.
Half of them from Phoenix.
Half, oh my.
That's
Is
a
that-
little much.
Is that...
Not quite.
Oh my. But anyway, so we've got folks here from the big three clans, being Phoenix, Spartan, and Loa. So you guys are currently far more informed on this than I am. Do you guys have any predictions, any clans that you guys are looking out for that, you know, people might not be aware of, any sort of that thing?
In terms of groups that we don't know of, absolutely none of them, because some of the names that I've
We
seen,
have never
I
seen
don't
play.
recognize. Yeah, it's going into it. It's random. We haven't seen them play before, except for maybe in random matches when we don't remember their names. So it's
I've
gonna be
Googled
interesting.
some of them.
Anybody specific, Aiden?
I don't remember the names, but I even found their forums and some member lists in the teams, and none of the players in those teams I knew. But I found out most of these new teams are from America.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of people here with a lot of free time. I wish I was one of them.
There's also
Hi.
the French frog players which never wear their tag in game, so you can't see who they are. But
Oh.
Do they have a team in the
I'm
tournament?
not sure, but I think they have a team.
I want to say I have seen them sign up, but I did not know that they didn't wear their tags.
Well, we'll find out on the 27th.
That'll be
Honestly, half of Loa isn't wearing the tag either.
yeah, that's
That's
true.
true.
I've never seen Sat wearing the tag. I think it's only
Yeah.
been you two and Rainbow that I've seen wear the tag ever.
Commandos has it on.
Commandos.
Oh
100%
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Commandos. I haven't seen him in a while.
Set doesn't have it, Rubik's doesn't have it. And
Oh man. Jeez. So lots and lots of surprises to be had for everyone is what I'm getting from this, because I mean you guys all know each other, of course, and there's been a fair amount of scrimmaging going on, but like this whole world of people that have signed up and nobody really knows anything about. So I don't know. I hope that makes for a very interesting tournament. I kind of, as much as I expect one of y'all's teams, honestly, honestly, I expect it to be Loa, Spartan, and Phoenix in the top 3. And regarding what order, I've got no idea. But I'm expecting to see y'all in the top 3. But I also kind of want to see one of those other teams pop up and really make you guys work.
Well, I would have to say that in a Final Four match, we're likely to see one of those other teams pop up. Unless Phoenix decides to stack 2 full teams.
Oh my, 2 full teams.
That
So-
could pose an issue.
Yeah. How many guys is Phoenix actually fielding?
Our clan itself has 34 members at the moment, and we are fielding 3 full squads.
3.
2 with 8 members and 1 with 6 members, and 2 are from Europe time zone and 1 is from American time zone.
You guys are fielding 3 teams,
Yep.
and you have enough for almost 7 with no subs. Dear Lord.
Phoenix is going to hold a tournament just of Phoenix players, and then the rest of us get to compete.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, Professor Chaos said that some of the teams will probably drop out because they only have 3 members. So he's expecting the count going down to like 12 teams in the end.
All right, that is true to be expected. I mean, as awesome as Fractured Space is, I mean, obviously all of us here think that it is still really, really new, still in alpha, so there's not going to be as big of a hardcore population as there could be.
Concerning the teams with 3 players, I'm hoping they don't completely drop out, but instead form or break
They could
apart and
fuse.
form teams through that.
Yeah, I think the problem is they don't know each other.
Yeah,
If
that's
we don't
true.
know them, I don't think they know each other.
Yeah, I would imagine if that were to happen, and yeah, that is a good thing to hope for. That the guys actually running the tournament. I mean, Professor Chaos, and I don't know who else is directly responsible for it. End up kind of letting them get away with merging teams kind of at the last minute, so we can actually have a bit of a show. Versus, this match is won by default because nobody likes winning a match by default.
I also think there's some teams in there which are just playing for the fun, which I like.
Yeah, that is certainly something. I know I would have. I kind of would have liked to have done that if I had had the time to make it for Funsies team. I would have, but I would have had to fight all of you guys, and you would have beat us up, and I would have cried.
Especially since we're playing on the previous version of the game, which has the Death Star laser scythe beam.
Oh, the Scythe Duck, yes.
Are we or aren't we? I'm not sure.
I hope we're not, but probably we will.
Rip.
Actually, the
Scythe Duck.
clan branch isn't working at all because only 10% of my team members actually have the credits and such there to play. The rest only has 3 ships.
The problem with the clan branch right now is the fact that the guys at Educates actually have to go in by hand and edit all of that stuff.
Yeah, but
which-
but why they do that? They could simply give everyone infinite credits or whatever.
maybe they can, maybe they can't. There could be some back end logistical reason that won't work or whatever. I don't know. I'm just
Make a flagship setup.
yeah.
Yeah, but concerning the
full flagship
Sorry.
team, go.
But concerning the version of the game, I have strong reason to believe it will be indeed the previous version, simply because they haven't released the hot fixes to address the point defense cannons
They
or
did.
the carriers. Well, they did, but it needs to be balanced more. They need to balance the game, the current version, a little bit more and smooth it out. And so we'll probably end up using the previous version, and maybe they'll fix that version to get rid of some of the issues that they fixed in this version.
So
In my opinion, the last version has more bugs than the new one.
Oh,
Yes.
agreed. That's what I'm hoping, that they would somehow take the old version, patch that, and then throw that one as the one we'd use.
Okay. So I actually kind of going on that, using that as an excellent segue. You know, the big patch, the big May patch did hit this week, and so we've got a whole bunch of new things in game. We've got rebalancing to old ships, like you said. The Scythe Duck is now dead. We've got the carrier and the infiltrator, isn't it, in game?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 2 brands making new ships into the mix. I don't think anybody got any new loadouts or skins or anything.
There are no new loadouts, but there are new skins for the carrier and the infiltrator. They got the Europa skins.
Well, new, I
The good,
guess,
the
quote
good thing
unquote.
is they broke the equalizer in the new patch, and the old one is still good.
They
Well,
broke
that's
the
the problem.
equalizer?
The
See,
issue with the equalizer is in the last patch they said they increased the boost gate to 90 seconds for the cooldown and didn't put it in the game, so it was 45. They finally fixed it in this patch, so it's actually 90 seconds, and that's insane.
Oh my.
Actually, everyone was happy when they found out it isn't 90 seconds in the last patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are talking about bugs. I'd like to hear more about this. Unfortunately, I'm not as informed as I used to be since I don't have time to play hours.
Also, the
per
destroyer
day.
is a lot better now.
I have noticed that the destroyer, at least in the times I've been playing the flagship, has been seeming pretty powerful. I think the shots are actually faster. I think it does more damage, but that could just be because I was playing a giant target. So, like,
The secondary attack has the same speed as the primary attack now,
Oh
so
my.
that's
Which
what
is
is faster.
flat out devastating when all of those rounds hit you.
Yep.
So the destroyer has just been massively buffed. So since we don't officially know which patch is being used yet, we have our suspicions, of course. But since there's no official word on which patch we'll be using, does the buffs to the destroyer for you guys make you consider using it in a team? Because I realize it wasn't exactly a popular pick last patch, even if it did perform okay.
I personally would not use it in a team. It's still really easy to kill. The turrets rotate slowly, so just getting close and it's dead, basically.
Competitive matches are really fast-paced, so in my opinion, the destroyer, even if he's strong enough, he's too slow for all the tactical movements.
Yeah, I can see there being a possibility down the road as the meta evolves. Iden was with us when we did our match yesterday with Phoenix, and Flagship seems to be a lot stronger now, especially
Yes.
with its ability to interact with the bombers, and you actually do need that extra.
It is effectively a better ship than the flagship.
In a lot of ways, it is, yeah.
Even just starting out fresh,
The
you're a
flagship
captain,
is more
no XP.
situational.
The only reason you'd want the flagship is for the disable ability and the superior capping.
The flagship is actually a nice pusher, and if you have 2 of them, the DPS is scary.
Well,
It's really scary.
I think with the DPS, but I would take flagships more for the crowd control. But the problem is then it's a slow alteration to the meta, and then we're running very heavy against that kind of play style. So I think at least for a while, I mean, something would have to change a bit more in the environment to see flagship be a bit more competitive than Hunter for the role of tank. About the only thing it really has going for it is because Flak interacts with small ships, it really puts the pressure on disruptors who are trying to support a target who's being pounded on. And that extra 4K health that the flagship starts with is a little nicer to have with Repair Beam, but that's a really small area to try and cram something in when Hunter can fit so many roles so much better.
And one other nice feature about the flagship, which I don't believe has been mentioned yet, is the flak now detonates on proximity to the target, which is a
Yeah.
tremendous feature. So
Yeah.
you don't have to aim exactly on them, and it'll detonate and damage them the way it should.
Is it also true for fighters and bombers? So if it gets close to them?
I was playing games yesterday, and I don't think that's the case. It passes right through them. However, if they're flying over an asteroid, you can shoot the asteroid, and it'll do the area damage effect.
Yep, I already did that. Works quite good.
All right. Well, it's excellent to see that things are getting slightly better for large ships. I mean, they're more than just giant health bars now, I guess. And actually, again, segueing perfectly, the two new ships, the flagship and the infiltrator. I've gotten to play a grand total of 3 games with each of them, and personally, I'm kind of underwhelmed, but I also realize that I don't know how to use them yet. Have you guys had any positive? Do you guys like them? Because obviously you've had more experience than I have.
Well, that's probably something we should take one ship at a time and focus on, and not so we're not bouncing back and forth between
Okay.
the two ships. I know Seraphin and I have a bit to say about Carrier.
Yes.
I had my first match ever in Carrier. I jumped into forward base. A brawler and frigate immediately came around the screen. I killed both of them while being shot at by their sniper, and turned and chased after the sniper, who immediately jumped out. So, I mean, that's a brawler and a frigate, point blank range, best case scenario for him, really. And I killed both of them at the same time
Oh my!
while taking fire from a sniper.
Before the hotfix or after the hotfix?
I think that one was before the hotfix, but even
And but I tested the carrier also quite a lot, and I think those 3 guys really have to be newbies because the carrier, especially after the hotfix, now the carrier isn't that strong anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
It's
In my
still
opinion, I would already be happy with the balancing actually.
I
My
feel
first
like it's
experience with the carrier was I jumped to Gamma, saw a brawler right in front of me, released my bomber wings, and it died in 2 seconds.
yeah.
That's how deadly the bombers were when the carrier came first out. It's a lot
Yep.
better.
That's true, but after the hotfix now you actually have a chance to kill the bomber missiles, and now it's not the
Yeah.
problem anymore.
Also, they nerfed the beam weapon. The carrier can no longer survive a shootout with a hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when the carrier released, the beam had a cooldown of about 2.5 seconds. So at level 7, if you had gas, it effectively had no cooldown. You could continuously shoot it.
Oh my! That is a bit extreme. Now, you guys were talking about bugs with the flagship that just got hot fixed. What were those exactly? I'm actually
The
interested.
carrier,
To know.
you mean?
The carrier. God, I can't even right now. God.
Well, for starters, the point defense cannons, they were prioritizing the fighters and bombers instead of missiles. So when you activate your point defense cannons, they will now prioritize missiles and the missiles from bombers instead of actual fighters.
Oh.
Then once all those are dispatched, it will then start shooting those fighters.
Wow. Yeah, that would certainly be. Yeah, I can see not being particularly happy when that's happening.
Yeah,
I
it was able to, if you launched the fighters just a half second above the bombers, they would eat all the point defense, and you could send them up against 2 or 3 ships, all with their point defense active, and your bombers would make it through and deliver their payloads almost completely intact.
I think even without the fighters, the bombers had no problem to shoot a full load of missiles on the enemy without any PDS
Yeah.
problems.
It's a little
And-
hard to tell for sure, just of the nature of there's a lot of people who are still struggling to learn and use their PDS properly, and it's
Yes.
fairly poorly communicated when it's active, and a few other minor issues at the moment from its first implementation. So, but yeah, it was very powerful. It is down a lot less. It's not nearly as ridiculous as it was. I'm still kind of torn on it. It's ungodly slow. It's not something I enjoy playing. I can put it that way.
Yes, but I think this is not a problem. It's just another playstyle, and the devs also said it is another playstyle.
Mhm.
Actually, I changed after playing a lot of carrier matches. I changed my style, and I always staying back, so I'm never at the front. I'm only acting with my bombers and fighters to support some other guys at the front line, and it works quite well.
So then,
Another problem with the
go ahead.
sorry. Another problem with the carrier is that waypoints are still bugged. The refueling doesn't work.
Oh,
Well, the
It should.
refueling does work, but if you have all your wings on it, only one or two are going to heal. They need to increase the area of effect for refueling.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you have to stop, and as soon as your bombers and fighters reach you again, they start refueling. But when you are moving and they are close to you, it doesn't always work because I
Oh.
think they don't get close enough to you anymore.
okay.
So hopefully
I-
this could be something they fix in
And
the hot
there
packs this upcoming week.
And there is an issue with your entire bomber wing dying after killing a flagship
Oh yeah.
Yes.
in the explosion. But Willis already said that they can somehow fix this.
Yeah. See, personally, I would actually like to see small ships like that be immune to the death splooge. Just 'cause-
Nah, this is unrealistic. I would simply make them faster so they can get away after the explosion quick enough.
that would work too. So then, kind of not final verdict on the flagship, but
Carrier.
if we God Harrier is the word I'm supposed to be using.
Let's
So,
just
for the-
say it still needs work.
Okay, well, I actually for the carrier, obviously, as they said in the patch notes, carrier V1. So this is just the first implementation. It's still really rough, as we can all see, and it's gonna get better and better as time goes on. Of course, as with everything, you know. But if we were to use the current patch, would you guys actually be interested in fielding a carrier as part of a team setup?
Absolutely not. It's a broken ship at this point. I would think it would just hamper the team.
It has too many bugs and it's a bit too slow for the current meta.
Well, it's the same phenomena as with the flagship and destroyer, in my opinion. If the new map iteration is there, these ships make sense, but not at the moment.
Okay.
About the only real thing I feel it brings over having, say, a sniper in the lane is it can spot everything that's actually in the sector at any time, and that gives you a little bit more tactical knowledge, but I don't know that it would be worth actually bringing it just for that.
Okay. So, yeah. I mean, it does seem like it's really solid. It's just, not quite good enough yet from a competitive standpoint.
Yep.
All right, then let's move on to the infiltrator. Then the new Zarek Industries stealth ship that, instead of relying really on its main weapon, the slug thrower, which is very, very just kind of a pew pew style gun. It relies on drones that put a stacking debuff on a target, and then you use your secondary weapon to burn all those debuffs to do damage. So what do you guys think of that thing?
I think it feels personally that it's kind of in between being a stealth attacker, kind of like the assassin with the ambush and I have this really cool combo I'm gonna appear out of nowhere, pop you with, and vanish before you can respond.
Mhm.
Halfway between that and being more of a standard combat ship along the lines of Hunter and maybe Reaper, where I'm just going to stand here and pound away at you with my main guns until you blow up. The cloak, it kind of feels like that. How to put it? Cloak and the AoE disarm work well together, but it doesn't seem to work well with the rest of its kit. It's tough enough. I think it could survive on its own without cloak at all, with just a small boost to its strafe speed. But the other abilities are really cool. I like the concept of it. I would personally like to see the ion drones change to work more like Soraka's Starfall ability from League of Legends,
Mhm.
where just every few seconds you pop it and it applies a stack to everybody nearby, and have it deal no damage and usable in cloak. So if you're paying attention, you notice you're getting this debuff stack, and there must be an infiltrator here somewhere. But the whole interaction with point defense on it and a few other things, I'm really not a big fan of the particular implementation, though I do like the actual design concept of it. But I feel a really big disconnect between the two different move sets, from the cloak and the AoE disarm to the ion combo and its slug thrower.
Mhm.
Overall, I would say the ship's all right, and it does have some pretty cool potential, but I don't know how I feel about it at the moment. I need to play it more.
Okay. Yeah, in the few games that I've played, I can definitely kind of see where you're going. I think one of the big things for it right now is, with it being a stealth ship like the Assassin. Of course, we've all played the crap out of the Assassin and know how that works, and we're kind of expecting the Infiltrator to work the same way. But on the Infiltrator, the cloak isn't an offensive thing. It is purely defensive. You don't really cloak to sneak up on somebody. You cloak to get away from people. You also don't have that jump and the fighters, which initially I thought you could deploy during cloak, but you actually can't. You know,
I think they should change that. If you could deploy your fighters while being cloaked, it would
Yep.
make it a lot better.
Yeah. Because I mean, they can already blink to a target, so that gives them a little bit of a ranged ability. But yeah, it feels really weird to me right now. But again, like I said, I've only had 3 games with the thing, so it's really cool. I just need to get used to it.
It's a pretty high skill ship, I think.
Definitely one of those ones that's gonna take somebody that actually figures it out, and then everybody sees, this guy's doing super well with it. What's he doing before it becomes really popular and really effective? I think. Unlike what's a good example?
The
Old
sniper.
Plasma Assassin.
Except the
Frigate.
sniper sucked.
Yeah.
Well, the sniper
Hunter
sucks at
before
most
people
points.
figured out quick blink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Hunter before people figured out quick blink. That is perfect. So. Oh. Darn. So. I don't know. Do you guys want to fill a little bit more time? Uh-oh.
Well, we could probably go over the point defense changes.
Sure. Like anything that you guys think would be cool to cover that people need to know about, please bring it up.
Use your
Well-
point defense. It's really good.
Well,
Honestly,
Name of all that's
I've seen
holy.
Phoenix people who never use their point defense.
Uh-oh, shots fired.
This might
It's
happen.
just one guy.
Well, I have the change logs in front of me, and what they did with the last patch is they unified all the point defense systems across every ship, so it has a range of 3,000 meters and a damage per second of 40, with a tick of a quarter of a second. They also reduced the time it's active by half, so you only get it for about 15 seconds. And it's also a nice little thing where you can damage the other ships with the point defense system if you're in range. And they introduced new visuals for the point defense system, but those are currently bugged and they're aware of that. So perhaps
Okay.
it'll be updated this next hotfix or sometime in a month when the next update comes out. And in conjunction with that, all the missiles, we're talking every single missile got a health bonus and a damage bonus.
Okay.
And they intentionally said to make point defense less effective.
Yeah. So it really was last patch. It really was just oh, okay, there's missiles coming. 4, okay, they're dead. Turn it off now. No, it was.
It really was. It was almost like it was another like hurdle for skill. Like you had to understand how to use your point defense to even have a chance of playing. It's like adding that on top of all the other requirements to being a good player. It just felt like another reason to beat captains over the head with something. And another one of the things they also did to improve point defense, which I'm sure you're going to get to, Lone, was improving fighters so that there was a reason to bother turning your point defense on with them. I mean, previously, I hadn't ever bothered using point defense on anything that wasn't missiles or bombers. And
Yeah.
now I find I'm actually activating it on the drones and on the fighters. Just if nothing else, then the actual fighter screen. The bombers are now good enough that fighters become valuable enough. You want to get rid of the enemy fighters so that your team's bombers can do their job. It did add a little bit of complexity, and I do like having that in there.
I might add that I had 2 occasions where I killed an enemy hunter as a sniper with my point defense when he got behind me.
Oh my.
I did have a situation already where my enforcer burst finished, left the guy on less than 100 health, and I finished him off with point defense. Because honestly, who wants to fire another escalate into somebody who has less than 100 health?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to remember that.
I'd also like to look at the missiles because that ties in the point defense a bit. One of the most extreme examples is the Hunter missiles.
Oh,
They
yes.
over doubled the health from 20 to 46, and they added 40 damage, so each missile does 120 per hit. So you get hit by one of those without your point defense, and it's going to take a nice chunk of your health off.
Man.
Yeah, the DPS of missiles is now comparable to the lower end weapons now. It's, as I recall, it's somewhere between 60 and 70 DPS as a base, which is, I mean, it's above Scalpel Beam, but everything's above Scalpel Beam.
Yeah.
It's actually towards the bottom. It's a little bit lower than Corvettes, as I recall.
Wow. Oh, missiles are actually a big freaking deal now. Actually, on that, is the SCUA actually worth taking now?
No, it still sucks.
It's,
Oh.
It does 800 damage, and its health is 120.
Aww.
It's still a piece of junk.
I'm
I would
sad
take-
now.
I would take the default missiles or the Kingfishers.
Yeah.
Probably default, they do more damage.
and you can hit close-in targets if somebody happens to get within 7k of you.
And they also have more health.
Yeah, that's another big one.
Oh yeah, the bug with the frigate missiles has been fixed so that they actually interact with point defense now instead of just being free damage.
I should also mention that the Kingfisher missiles, those had their health reduced 2 points. So it's now 18.
Oh,
Probably to
It-
account for their fast speed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are the Kingfisher missiles now targetable by point defense? I don't think so.
They should be. If they aren't, it'll probably be fixed in a hotfix. I
I
don't
think they
see.
are, but
to
they are
have
too quick.
noticed him. Yeah, I seem to have noticed him doing it, but between the point defense graphic bug and just their raw speed, it's kind of hard to confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
We could go and actually test it, but I do seem to remember the
If
point
you're-
defense is firing when they came by my ship before. So
They're just too
If
quick
you're
to
doing it
reliably
right,
be killed.
so if you're doing it right, you can blow them up with your detect if you're hunter or disruptor.
Detect
Really?
does damage.
Detect?
Yes, detect does damage to small craft, and not even small damage.
Yeah.
it's a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I remember it doing damage to fighters. That was the only thing worth using on fighters last patch, but I didn't know that it did damage to missiles too. That's kind of
It does.
amazing.
And it took about 1/3 health from infiltrator drones. I don't know how
Oh
much it
my.
does to us.
That is devastating.
I usually use them to finish off fighter and bomber wings.
I've
Yeah.
actually been debating whether it would be better to run the base detect or the pulse one it does,
Mm.
just because
That's a
if
good
it's
question.
if the damage is comparable to one pulse versus the actual detect, then the pulse is just going to rip small craft into little pieces.
I need
That
to
is-
try.
That is. We have come up with something interesting, potentially, carrier breaking. Haha! I said it right that time. Oh, victory!
But you meant the flagship, so
Yes, I meant the flagship, but I said carrier.
No, the pulse detect is gone.
Oh,
is
it's
it?
gone.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Maybe they realized it.
Ah.
I would say in before nerf, but they already took it out.
in after nerf.
Yes. Now I should point out something. The Reaper missiles, the Ravens had their health reduced 7 whole points down to 18, but their damage is now 150. So you have
Oh my.
low health missiles that move quickly and just rip you apart.
And you can spam them. The cooldown is really fast.
Yeah. Well, they would have to, because since they took so much damage from the Reaper in the form of nerfing that
Well,
scythe beam, they'd have
They
to
did,
have to
but-
compensate it.
Side duck.
Maybe to segue into the Reaper changes. I mean, yes, they did nerf the one-shot sight duck, but they buffed its actual main cannon damage to the point where it's now the second highest DPS weapon.
Yeah, each cannon now does 20 damage per hit instead of 12, which is a tremendous increase.
Man,
It is devastating.
that's a 60% increase in damage.
Yeah, if you're
Awesome.
sitting at about 10,000 meters or kilometers, pretty sure it's kilometers, even though they say meters, I'm pretty sure that once you scythe them and you open fire into their side, they're going to be dead very shortly.
Okay.
Also, the Reaper is the best counter to the carrier.
Really?
It has fighters. It has that screen. If you just if you move towards the carrier and you just angle your ship so that the torpedoes go into the shield, you can completely deflect them.
Oh my.
It has a scythe beam that instantly opens up the carrier's huge armor, and yeah, it can just rip it apart.
There you go. Scythe Duck got nerfed. But
Also, did you notice that they actually changed the damage curve of the beam?
yeah.
It does
So
about 350 damage at close range and 1,500 with a single beam at high range.
Oh man, yeah.
So the damage on range is actually higher than the damage at close range.
Are you sure that's correct? We already thought
Yes,
about whether there might be
that-
missing a 0.
That's correct.
Pretty sure
It's really
someone
correct.
confirmed.
Interesting.
It does more damage at range, but that
So
doesn't
it's-
it doesn't make sense. But that's how it is.
It
So it's
actually
exactly
makes
the
sense.
other way around now.
No, because
it
at
actually made
range,
sense.
at range you would have less lasers hitting. At close range, you would have
Yes.
more. So that part doesn't make sense. But I'll leave the mechanics alone, as it's balancing and fair.
Well, maybe it's some beam that charges up over time. I don't know. I'm not a physics professor.
Lasers tend to be more powerful at the point that they are actually focused versus when they're not. So
just want to throw some, how to say it, to put the main cannons on Reaper, that buff into context. It went from 240 DPS to 320.
oh my.
So the thumpers on the brawler got a pretty big nerf, and it's down to 352 DPS base. So there is a 32 DPS difference, which is about scalpel beam, between brawler and reaper, just off their main weapons.
Wow.
And as we discussed, the Raven missiles got a big damage buff and are pretty much spammable, and you have fighters. So I'd have to sit down and run the math again. It's been a while, but it may actually be that Reaper is now the highest damage ship because of all its offensive abilities combined with that huge buff to their main cannons.
So then with that bombshell dropped on us, what do you guys now think about running the Reaper from this patch in a team?
No way.
It's countered and outmaneuvered too easy.
Okay.
It's the maneuverability. It can't reliably keep that front on target against the current meta. It's just between hunters and enforcers and frigates and equalizers, if that gets fixed.
Okay.
There's just so much hate in the meta right now for a ship that has to rotate and keep a narrow cone of fire on a target.
Okay.
That, I mean, it could have the old Brawler's Thumper DPS, the 400 something that it was at, and I still don't think I would take it.
Wow. So then, actually, to another segue here, the current meta is, as you guys have said, it favors faster, maneuverable ships that don't necessarily have to worry about keeping a specific cone of fire on their target, save for the hunter, but the hunter's got quick blink and is amazing anyway. So,
But there's
kinda-
also a use for the Reaper, but the problem is that in competitive matches you won't face any flagships, destroyers, or carriers, and because of that, also the Reaper is of less use.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say, outside of the obviously the new end game is going to turn everything on its ear, and we're going to be spending the next 2 months figuring out, okay, what is good, what works, what's effective, all that good stuff. Is there any changes that you guys could see that would potentially just upset the current meta as it is right now?
Well, if the devs would have put in the firing arc for the Enforcer, that could have been a big thing. So that only fires full damage right in front of the ship and reduce damage all around.
Okay.
That would have
That
upset a
alone
lot.
would, do a pretty big number on the meta.
Yes, but this would make the Hunter the only really strong ship that you could use.
Not
Well,
really.
I'm not sure, but Rainbow Dar with his quick blink is really, really strong. And with the Enforcer, you have a chance to kill him, but if you nerf the Enforcer with the angles, I'm not sure it would be possible anymore.
We'll determine that in the tournament when I go head to head with him.
Oh, ooh.
It's a rainbow. You can't balance the game around him.
Yeah.
You also can't balance the disruptor around Set.
Yeah. You can't.
Another good point.
That
Well, you
would
can't
be-
balance him against a newbie, but you can balance top players playing different ships together. Where's the problem there?
Well, the problem is you can't balance around top players because not everybody is a top player. I'm sure you've all seen, your standard like bell curve for
Dota actually balances around top players, and I think League of Legends does too. And I think it's the only really good thing you could do, because you can balance around plebs.
Well, I was gonna say it's
Or-
not it's not important to look at the very high performing players, because that high performing players put everything under a microscope. So anything that might be almost a non-issue with your standard player is going to be a BFD for your top performing player. So you do have to look at your top players, but you can't balance solely around them. You do have to look at the middle 20-25% of the player base, the people slightly above and below the midline, because that's where the majority of your players are going to be. What might be a small change for a pro player could potentially be a huge change for your average player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Which
but there
isn't the
should
case.
be.
Actually, I have made experience with games that balance around the average player. Planet Side is one of the examples, and the balancing is horrible. Because I don't know if you have if you have ever played Planet Side, and if you do know the VS Lancer, it's an anti-tank cannon. Basically, it's an anti-tank railgun with a range of like 5 or 6 kilometers. And the usual average player Zerg is not smart enough to use that thing. But as soon as you have 2 squads of veteran players sitting on a hill, they can totally wreck a Zerg of 100 tanks within a few minutes. Yes. It's the most devastating AV weapon in the entire game. And that's the reason why you should not balance around average players.
Well, no, that's you should balance around average players, but you also do need to pay attention to the really crazy ones too.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a ship that a top player can use and is better than everyone else with that.
Yeah, exactly. Every ship should be viable. Ideally, everything should be viable at every level of play. You shouldn't say, "Bam, you're in the top 5%." Suddenly, you're a wizard with whatever weapon or ship or something, and because you're super good, you can use this. That maybe has a place somewhere, but leaves a bad taste in my mouth for games.
Actually, I think the balance of fractured space is pretty good. At least for between the ships. There's some issue within the ships, like the fast cannon for the hunter is completely useless. But that's a minor thing.
I don't know if I'd say it's completely useless. I'd just say it's currently outshined by the fact that there are so many people that can use the heavy cannon effectively that nobody pays attention to it. Because Dryad, I think you would know, they actually math out to roughly the same DPS.
Heavy cannon clocks in at 264, regular at 266.6, and faster at 280. I totally don't have a spreadsheet open in front of me.
So yeah, the faster cannon is good. It's just like how originally I remember I thought that the heavy cannon was completely useless, and then I saw somebody, or I played against somebody that just completely wiped the floor with me with the heavy cannon, and then I was just like, oh, actually no, it wasn't Rain, because he was still using the regular cannon at the time.
The problem with the fast cannon is that the bonus in DPS cannot make up for the lack of damage. And we earlier had the fast cannon with a lot of DPS, and then that didn't work either because then you had hunters who teleported right into the nose of another ship and totally ripped them apart. Rainbow did that alone. Before the heavy cannon got buffed and the fast cannon got nerfed, he was only flying fast cannon, and it was ridiculous.
Oh my.
He just ripped everything apart in close range.
Yeah, the real problem with the faster cannon is you're not getting much of a difference in DPS. I mean, it's between heavy and faster, it's 16 DPS. That's very minimal. But you're for that 16 DPS, you're losing almost 50% of the range of heavy cannon.
Yeah.
And that is extreme.
Yeah, it really is. All right, so we've been going for an hour now. I don't know if you guys have places to be, but I'm certainly willing to keep going.
I don't need to hit the sack for another hour. I'm good.
All right. Stone, Eden, are you guys willing to stick around? Maybe we can, ask the chat for some questions.
Sure.
Well, we still have things like the sniper angle nerf to go over.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one that hadn't even crossed my mind. That's a huge one too. If I'm remembering,
honestly, it didn't affect my gameplay at all.
Mine either. In fact, what I feel that it did is that it nerfed the middle lower end of play, so that the people who were struggling to deal with those high perch snipers are fine with it, but it really didn't impact the high level play in any way. So that's definitely a case where I feel that balancing the ship around the new players in that way was perfectly warranted and acceptable, because hey, it doesn't impact us and it does help out new captains and people still struggling with sniper. So
yeah. For context, the change to the sniper was the angle, the elevation and depression that you could actually have your gun up and down was changed to a maximum of 25 degrees, if I remember right.
25 down from 75.
25 down, yeah, down from 75. So you can't just sit at the top of the map and just kind of shit out LR shots on the enemy team and win, because that is pretty miserable, just not being able to deal with something because you physically can't get to it.
But let's face it, most of those people that did that never charged the cannon. They used it as a machine gun.
Yeah.
Also, they were actually bad snipers, and if they met a veteran player, they died horribly. Because as a sniper, it's a pretty stupid idea to move like a 30k up elevation where nobody can help you if there's a range blink hunter or an enforcer or an equalizer.
Assassin or...
Yeah.
Infiltrator.
Yeah. It keeps you too far away from your base to get a repair. It keeps you away from being able to capture things. All you can do is put shots at the opponent downrange, and you can do that perfectly well from the middle point, and you're only going to gain a few seconds more as they close in on you. And really, if you need those few seconds, just jump out of the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I got really pissed when I had to go kill snipers that did that, because then I had to go all the way back down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wasn't an issue for the fast chips like range blink hunters, equalizers, enforcers, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was it nearly as much an issue?
It was annoying, but it was not unbalanced.
And what do you think about that sniper change regarding the railgun? Because you would use this one with much closer range, and there you might need the higher fire angle.
Did they really change it for the railgun too?
Well, I'm not playing it, but I asked people, and they said it's also it's for all weapons, not just the long range.
Well,
but I don't know whether this is true.
It's a sniper mechanic, not a gun specific mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And they would actually be able to do that. I talked to one of the devs, and they said that the railgun sniper and the LR cannon sniper are actually two different models.
Really?
Yes, they needed to do it because the weapon is so huge that the system can't handle it.
That's right. I do remember talking about that before.
So that shouldn't be a great issue. But they
That's
actually want to
interesting.
change the railgun.
Okay.
They want to give it more range. Like that we basically get what we had before the change, like that you have the LR cannon, which is a burst charge damage weapon, and you have the railgun, which does that constant poking even over range.
Yeah.
And I think that was a concept that worked because the LR cannon, the railgun was also quite okay in closer combat. But with the reduction of the range, the railgun just doesn't work because 30k is just too low for a ship that has such limited angles and such limited close combat performance.
Mm-hmm.
30k and even 35k is a distance that ships like the Range Blink Hunter, the Enforcer, or the Equalizer can traverse within a matter of seconds.
Yeah,
And then
that's
just
within
die.
their range of gap closers. So
Yeah.
there's also the brawler damage nerf, which I believe Zared is going to be happy about.
Yes. I hate brawlers so
I'm not
much.
sure. I'm not sure if they actually over nerfed the brawler,
Over nerfed, really?
but a tiny bit.
See,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet.
my problem with the brawler honestly wasn't the damage; it was the armor on the sides. I thought the armor was too strong, but maybe the damage nerf will make it not feel so bad.
Lately, I've been clubbing up a lot of brawlers with a flagship, but that could just be bad brawler players.
It could be.
It's kind of hard to tell because those weak spots are so vulnerable to bad play that if they screw it up, I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
There were a number of posts on the Steam forums where people are complaining, hey, did they change the flagship? Did they buff it recently? I didn't get a patch note on it because they were playing Brawler and suddenly they were just getting dominated by flagships, and it ended up being because they were getting shot in the nose.
I would like to point stuff out with the patch notes. There's a lot of stuff that the devs changed that aren't on them that really should be.
Yeah, it is not complete.
Hidden patch notes.
Yeah, it's far from complete.
Yes.
There's like microscopic changes that they don't put on, which make a lot of difference.
I suppose you have a direct example of that to share with us then.
Oh, that's a good idea. Equalizer. That now has 90-second cooldown. We discussed that, like, I don't know, 40 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the flak damage. They didn't mention that anywhere in there, but the flak now explodes closer to ships. That you don't have to hit them directly with it. There's the flak.
I think that was commented somewhere in Flag Cannon fixed,
Yeah.
but they didn't tell what they did actually fix.
See, that's another issue.
Mm-hmm. So just communicating of some of the, or rather, more specific communication of some of the things that have changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can certainly see that as being a point of frustration. I mean, as much as I am like I'm perfectly okay with. Oh, so that's what they meant. I mean, it's kind of like this cool little discovery adventure you get sent on for for y'all who are coming the patch notes to find the next big thing that you need to build a team around.
Yeah, but
it can be,
at the
it can be
same time,
frustrating.
I'm not Dora the Explorer, and I really don't want to go play hundreds of matches and then sit down and with spreadsheets and calculate, okay, I'm going to end up doing it anyway, but I don't want to sit down with spreadsheets and micro out every little detail and then go experiment, and it's a lot of work. I would rather you just tell me the specific information and have it all there.
Yeah. So
Otherwise, I'm eventually going to nag somebody at ECG to confirm or disprove whatever is possibly changed anyway.
So then
I'm a Dora Explorer.
You
My
would.
planet side outfit is actually called Dora.
So then, something I suppose a request kind of then would be for there to be not exactly two sets of patch notes, but like a easily digestible set of patch notes, and then like another smaller set that's almost basically raw numbers would be
Like a
kind of
TLDR.
appreciated.
And
Just clear
a full detail.
communication what they changed would be awesome.
Okay.
I disagree. I think like two different versions. One that gives a general consensus that the regular community would want to see, and then another one which is heavily detailed,
Okay.
containing everything.
Okay. Actually, have you guys are any of you League of Legends players?
Not currently,
I-
I've been
but
playing
Dota.
this.
Dota. All right, hold on. Let me get something for you guys then, because Riot in the past year or so has changed the way that they've done patch notes, and personally, I happen to like them. Let me see if I can find y'all a good example to have a 5-second look at.
Well, I do know the Dota patches where they say like something. Rubik's blah 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 has been cooldown has been increased by 0.005 seconds or so.
Okay. Well, there. Have a look at that and how that is structured. You can scroll down a little bit and get to a champion that has been changed recently. In this case, to give a little bit of context, this for people that actually know, these are the 5.9 patch notes for League of Legends where they did the big changes to Ashe, and so we can see everything is and the way that it is listed out. And would that be something, that would be awesome to see.
Yeah, that would be a
Yeah.
nice improvement.
Yep,
Having the
This is very
detailed-
nice.
Okay.
This is very, very nice.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Less we want this and more. Here's an example of what would be super awesome. Please, we will help you.
Well, now you know what to put in over this section. Some B-roll footage scrolling down on that.
Mhm. Yep. God, that's gonna be such a process figuring out B-roll.
I could record it for you if you're doing 1080.
I record and stream in 720 because of the bandwidth issues.
So I can stream it on my cell phone.
Yep. Exactly.
Specifically
Exactly.
for me. He does it for me and none of you. It's all about me.
Yes. Yeah, Jiraiya is actually secretly my boyfriend, and so I do all my things for him.
It's true. I created the Scythe Duck meme just for Zara.
Mm-hmm.
It was an anniversary present.
It was. All right, so we've
You know,
trailed
one
off.
thing we never discussed is actually the origins of that, and seeing it's the inaugural episode, we may want to actually cover that.
So the Scythe Duck in general, or the Duckworks name.
Well, I would assume that they do end up being intrinsically linked, so
All
we
right,
would
well,
cover one with the other.
Well then, since I do believe it's actually you that you came up with the Scythe Duck.
The original meme, was
Yeah,
mine.
okay.
I was watching you stream playing the Reaper, and every time you would Scythe beam, you would go Scythe, and it just struck me in the back of my head the very first time you did it that you sounded just like the dub voice of Psyduck. And then I started thinking about it and go, no, that actually fits a bit. That's pretty hilarious. Went and whipped it out real quick, threw it up on your stream. And I mean, you know the rest of it from there as well as I do.
Yeah. From there, I threw it up on my stream because it was perfect. It fit. About 30 minutes after Jiraiya's initial post, Willis threw up a link to an image of Scythe Duck or Psyduck painted in Titan Pro colors, the light blue with the orange stripe, and so now every time after that, whenever I would play the Reaper, I would put up Scythe on my stream, and then to kind of go along with that, I decided that Duckworks should be the Titan Defense Systems equivalent of Skunkworks. You know, it started off with development of the Scythe Beam, and like in the very first test firing, maybe something went wrong, maybe everything went
They
right.
hit a duck.
Nobody knows, but somebody lost their shit because it sounded like a duck when it fired off. So, you know, some junior scientist just not being able to keep his cool. Christened, thusly got the program christened, the Duckworks project, and then they went on to beautiful and wonderful things, and that is where Duckworks came from. And it is totally canon, and nobody can argue with me because I said so. Damn it.
Well, if ECG is going to put out their lore despite our constant demands every month,
Yeah.
we're just going to write it for them.
Exactly. That's perfect. You know, we will write the lore because nobody else is writing lore. If they have been, they haven't shared it with us, which is the important part.
Yes, and Toonzilla, I know you're listening. Put it out already.
Well, there was some community written lore that was pretty good.
Has there been?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I don't travel to fanfiction.net very often.
But you know of its existence, so you kind of outed yourself anyway.
Damn
I'll go
it!
find it.
I have a secret to share with all of you. I'm actually a 14-year-old girl.
That's supernatural fanfiction, though.
Yes. Actually, I want to say that there was a... I'm gonna go look right now. I feel terrible. Let's see. Right.
It looks like he blew up the images on the screen.
Ah! Oh no, that's because Seraphine's not streaming video anymore.
Way to go, Seraphine. Break everything, why don't you?
What? I'm still there, am I?
Nope.
I mean, I can still hear.
Oh my gosh, on fanfiction.net, there is a whole one listing under fractured space.
Well, I know what I'm doing later.
I will put that in the chat. I do not even know what it is about. So, potential NSFW warning. Just, you know.
Yeah, I'm not reading that.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
It would
Got
be
2 chapters. Somebody's been putting work.
5,850 words. Mm.
I see no mention of Jonesy, the cat crew member here, though, so I'm a bit disappointed.
This was actually published in December. So this was really early on. Oh my. By CHRIDY. Who is that? Oh, but I don't know, but they've got a deviant art.
I found the lore that was on the forums. I actually haven't read through it all because it's like a page. And I'm lazy.
A whole page. All right, we've gotten to the point of the podcast where we're just kind of hanging out now. This is no longer
Yes.
proper. We're just goofing off.
I guess we should go back to the patch notes, see if we missed anything.
I think I have something because the disruptor drones are now also blinking to the target, what changes a lot.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
did
a
they
simple
finally
thing.
implement that? Thankfully.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes the disruptor much stronger.
Oh, cool.
Seth is very happy.
He really is.
Yeah,
You
He
know,
was so upset.
you know what we haven't talked about at all or even mentioned
Hmm.
in a little? The new crew system.
New
That's
crew
true.
system.
We didn't go over that at all.
Now, is there
You can-
actually a new
New?
system or just new crew
Well,
members?
new
New
crew
members.
with some new stats that we haven't seen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll go over them. You got 2 for jump core. One is a 1% jump increase, cooldown, and protection. The CAG is flight duration, resource gathering, and capture rate. And then you have repair. You have 1 new guy for repair, which is armor strength, damage reduction, and repair rate. And then you have a new captain with Captain Jingles. So 2 new captains for damage reduction, capture rate, and cooldown rate. And yes, we did get Captain Jingles.
Captain
For those who are wondering.
Captain Jingles is finally real. He's in
Yes.
game. He's not min-maxed properly, so I don't use him.
Yeah,
Jingles
no,
from the free. Is he from the free weekend or
Yes.
what was?
Yeah.
If you played during the free weekend, you get a free Captain Jingles.
I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
its stats
Okay.
suck.
And
So
you
I don't
might
use them.
you might want to add that nobody actually knows what resource gathering means.
That's true. What is meant by resource gathering? Is that meant from like do you get more resources than the rest of your team does? Is it from when you kill people?
I
That's-
think that
It
might
could
be when
additional
you.
resources from kills.
That's
Yeah,
probably
it
what
makes
is.
sense. More resources from kills, or perhaps it's like a stacked thing for your team where you get more resources from each mining station. I don't know. It's not correctly defined.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just speculating, and hopefully some dev can correct us.
I think it's for kills because seriously, just think about what would happen if 5 people in the group had that.
I
that
know,
would
it's
give
Especially
like
if the other
10%
5
resource
didn't, yeah.
edge.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
But at the same time, I mean, that would create a situation where it's more advantageous for me to let you have the kill because you are running that crew member and I'm not, which kind of gets us back into the whole AD carry mindset from LoL and Dota, and I hated that. I really don't want to see that happen here, where I get yelled at because I got the finishing blow on a target.
Yeah. Well, switching.
Yeah, but the problem will be solved with a new takedown system anyway.
Has that actually been
Well,
confirmed?
seriously with that.
Because I haven't heard.
I
About that
haven't
being
heard
confirmed.
it confirmed. Every time it's been talked to me by one of the devs, it's been we're looking internally to do it. We have a lot of people internally who are wanting to move to it,
There you go.
but never anything concrete. And it kind of sounds like there are some people who are very strongly against it. And I'm curious to hear what they think about that. I'm interested to find what they feel the downside to that could be, because as a community, we've pretty much unanimously agreed that we want to see takedowns be the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's somebody at ECG in particular who's saying no, I want to hear what their reason is. I'm sure they have a good one, or they have at least some concern. And if that's the case, let's hear it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not the case, let's just get a confirmation that, yeah, we're going to do that. If nothing else, that way Lone, Seraphin, and I can post it on the Steam forums and shut people up.
Yeah.
Finally.
Tamp down any discussions of.
Not that it's honestly going to in any way impact the number of people posting, complaining
also-
about it, but
Yeah.
This ship is OP.
I
Nerf
also
it.
think. Oh, sorry.
Right.
No, I was just gonna say this ship is OP. Nerf it as a joke for the Steam forums.
Yeah. I also think getting takedown system would decrease the hate for snipers, because honestly, half of my kills usually are kill steals.
Yep.
You're doing, as a sniper with LR cannon against broken armor, you're doing something like 4,000 damage in one shot, and that usually nets you the kill.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I intentionally kill steal with the sniper.
one of the things I always respond to whenever I'm playing Assassin and I get a kill and somebody accuses me of kill stealing is I explain to them very calmly that you cannot kill steal with an assassin. You see, all the kills belong to the assassin to begin with. I just occasionally allow you to take some of them from me. So
what you're saying is Chuck Norris eats a lot of metal and becomes the assassin.
Chuck Norris is an assassin, yes.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to ask. Does Chuck Norris play assassin?
I don't know
Chuck
what the
Norris-
love for Chuck Norris is, but Bruce Lee is far superior.
Well, see, here's the thing,
There's
though.
a fistful of chest hair that proves so.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they did a movie together. I actually got to shake Chuck Norris's hand when I was like 13.
Yeah, but you live in Texas. Isn't that, like, required by law or something?
Yeah, but what you don't know is that, like, I shook his hand, and then, like, the infusion of testosterone I took, like, 4 or 5 steps, and then I ended up looking like I do now. You know, very, very much hairy and lanky and stuff. Bit of a
I
change for a
thought you were going to
13-year-old.
go with you turned to He-Man for 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
Shrunk back down to normal size. Your Chuck Norris roids wore off.
No, Chuck Norris roids
Actually-
don't wear off.
Actually, there's a good amount of Chuck Norris memes in the Fractured meme thread.
Yeah, yes, there is.
I just felt silly one day, and then I all made them in one run.
That is the best thread.
Yeah, that thread is one of the most epic topics I have ever seen in my years of gaming history.
It is where you need to go to learn valuable lessons about life, about fractured space, and occasionally about, you know, what kind of loadouts are pissing people off.
And you'll also learn to not go gamma at the start. You go gamma
Oh,
at
God.
8 minutes. I
No,
think we could just
Patrick,
fill
you
a
cannot so-
podcast off of that, but
Yes.
Going gamma was a viable solution back when you could jump to the enemy's forward station.
I remember bitching about that
Yeah.
specifically and saying, no, you need to change it like this, so it works like this, and being told, okay, well, we got to figure out a way to do that. And I was just like, no, you do it based on station ownership. Done. And then they were like, oh yeah, that works.
so everybody, it is Zared's fault whenever you see a captain go gamma.
It is my fault that people go gamma. It is also my fault that the sniper is actually viable.
Yep, way to go. Just ruined it for everybody.
Hey, you're welcome. You are.
See, and you're
truly
not even
welcome.
on the Steam forums. to
No, I'm
hate
not.
the abuse.
No, I know better. I will never venture forth into that cesspit willingly.
I'm also
It's
going to throw
really
this out
the
here.
best call, but
I'm also going to throw this out here. You're also responsible for captains killing commodores
Really?
on a regular basis
Why?
because most commodores suck now.
That happens.
yes,
Yeah, that's actually
a
true.
lot.
That's actually also an issue because since there are so many Commodores now that can't play properly, the auto balance system doesn't work anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because
Well-
there are a ton of Commodores who are completely incompetent and a good bunch of captains and commanders who are actually doing rather well.
But that's actually been nice to have. I can get in a game as an admiral and not have to solo 5-on-1 because
Yeah, that's good.
because my captains are better than their commodores. So
That's actually true.
it's not all me every game. I could actually play Fractured Space again.
I guess that kind of brings us into the this thing, ramming. We haven't talked about ramming.
Oh, I haven't noticed a whole lot with. Actually, no, I haven't noticed a whole lot of damage from ramming. I have noticed a whole lot of flagships using their boost very close to me and missing though.
A lot of ramming attempts, very few of successes.
Yes.
Honestly, I've seen it, and a flagship ramming a Corvette does like 1,000 damage if it's using boost.
I finished off a carrier yesterday with a flagship when I rammed into him. It's pretty fun.
The only intentional and successful use of ramming I've seen. I had watched an Enforcer range boost blink. What was it? Frigate?
Oh my.
And he only did a couple hundred to him, but it's a frigate. That's a pretty good chunk of his health.
Yeah.
But the funny part was carrying the frigate to the other end of the lane and actually saving his Corvette buddy from that frigate.
Wow.
Completely unintentional. He was just trying to ram the guy for free damage and ended up pulling one of the coolest maneuvers I've seen in a while.
Nice.
But you have to admit, the sound effects they have for ramming sound amazing.
It is really good.
I don't think I've actually heard
I've
them
been
yet.
really impressed overall with the improvements we've had to audio.
Yeah.
The Reaper cannons, those sound incredible.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Enforcer also, I mean, it used to be just a piddly little pop gun, and it actually is now kind of intimidating to hear that roar at you.
Did you listen to the new R cannon? That thing now sounds like a jet plane flying by. It's
Did they
pretty
change
awesome.
it in the patch? I haven't played since.
Yes, it's now like
Yeah.
something like that. It feels really good.
Yeah,
That-
I've heard that.
It could actually be a tick louder. It's a bit calm, but the sound itself is really good. I love
Yeah.
it.
Reaper cannons are a tad loud.
Yeah.
Also, the new skybox is amazing.
Oh yeah,
It
the
makes
art,
the entire game look larger. It makes the area look huge.
That's something that like I had been playing as like everything looks different and feels different, and I'm not sure why. Oh, there's actually like stars and stuff. What is this?
yeah, the artwork
They're not
is
blurry
phenomenal.
pixels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that's a bit bad now is that if you look at the asteroids and then look at the skybox, the asteroids look pretty shitty.
Well, the asteroids are temporary art till they get the destroyable ones in place.
Yeah.
And they actually look not that bad, but compared to the skybox, it's just a huge
Yeah.
difference.
It really
Especially
is.
Also, did you-
compared to what they looked like back in January, February, when they were just
Oh my!
Yeah.
Very
Also, did you
textureless
notice that
blobs.
did you notice that the asteroids at the home bases still have no textures?
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
Wow.
They're gray.
I have
But-
not
They're
noticed
gray
that.
fish.
I get to use those asteroids in any effective way once every 10 matches, maybe, so it's not even something I don't think anyone notices.
Yeah.
I use those every time I jump in, and they have a sniper camping their base.
Yeah.
Actually, returning to sound for a second, the only gun that I can think of that doesn't sound good, to me, honestly, is the Infiltrator's little pop gun. I mean, it's called the Slug
It's
Thrower,
horrible.
and it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this huge cat that just walks up to you and just goes.
I'm also not a big fan. I used to like the sound of the rockets and heavy rockets, but after all the other weapons got upgraded, I'm kind of thinking, those rockets could use another upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
I would like something terrifying. Like, I mean, you listen to Real World, the MLRS,
Mm-hmm.
or the old World War II footage of the Germans firing V2s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a terrifying wall of sound that's hitting you,
Yeah.
and we get something that's kind of a joke.
A little bit.
And it's not that it's a joke; it's that in comparison to all the other really cool sounds we have now, it's the same thing. It's kind of been, and I'm like, can we get a new one for rockets, please?
Yeah.
Please.
A gun I also don't like from the sound is still the brawler cannon, because honestly that thing still sounds like a paintball cannon.
It sounds like drums to me, which kind of fits, but
Yeah, I
They're-
actually
they're too
like the
high-pitched.
color sound.
They're too high pitched. They sound like, I don't know, submachine gun or so.
I could see making them a little deeper, throatier, a little
Yeah.
more of a growl to them when they fire. But the overall basic for them, I like.
Oh, kind of like how the scalpel beam was changed. Like the sound for the scalpel beam from what it used to be and to what it is now.
Yes.
The actual like audio, so far as I can tell, hasn't changed, but just like the emphasis and the levels on the high and low and all that good stuff that I know nothing about has been more skewed more towards the bass, and it sounds great.
If you're getting hit by it, it sounds a bit like a lightsaber.
Exactly. That was a glorious thing to find out. That's perfect. Let's see. What else can we nitpick on, I guess?
Key bindings. My
bindings.
guide is now obsolete.
Oh, yeah, those were actually added to the game, weren't they?
And they did a phenomenal job. You know how most games only allow you to bind one key to one thing?
Mm-hmm.
This lets you bind two keys to one thing, so it's like an improvement. It's quite nice.
Sweet.
That's cool.
That's the I need to play with that. I need to try some things out. So
I think there's still an issue with French keyboards where the jump home button. First thing is it doesn't work in game. Second thing it disappears from the key binding option menus apparently.
it runs away from the key bindings.
Yeah, that's someone reported it. It appears to be a pretty odd issue.
Well, I mean, it is a French keyboard, so it makes sense that it would run away. Oh, shots fired.
Well, I mean, if you're desperate, you can always go edit the input INI file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will get fixed, and editing INI files will have to be just. We'll get to the point where it's a thing of the past rather than like required to get certain things to work.
Hopefully.
There's also an issue with the key binding with a specific symbol. I think it was the paragraph sign or the asterisk, I'm not sure, that makes all your key binding disappear. They're still there, but you can't see them anymore.
That's interesting. That is a neat bug.
But yeah, it's already reported, I think.
Okay.
You know, something we didn't really touch on much that we probably should go over. With all the changes to balance, we went over the balance changes, but how are you guys feeling about specific chips? I mean, I hear a bit of complaint from some of the guys in Sparta about Frigate. There's been talk about Enforcer and Brawler on the forums. How are you guys feeling about the actual balance going into the tournament for the ships that weren't really impacted? Are they going to be lagging behind if we use this new patch, or are they going to be acceptable?
I think
the
the
frigate
meta hasn't changed a lot. The flagship is more viable, but it's still not that good.
See, I don't know what they did to the frigate, but it is not the same ship it was last patch.
Last patch, I could already see it changing because they upped the damage so much on multi-shot that actually it was actually worth it to take multi-shot because you could cleave while not giant chunks, respectable chunks out of people's health with that thing. You just had to be almost inside them to do it.
I was pulling down 1K 1200 point multi-shots on a destroyer yesterday.
Dang.
I think it was to broken armor, but that's still a pretty good chunk of damage compared to what it had been, and definitely compared to what you can pull off with a single sweep of the scythe beam.
Yeah.
Not scythe beam.
Scalpel beam.
Scalpel.
Yeah, but
Curse you, scythe duck.
But I think it's really good that the scalpel beam hardly does any damage because it's got that perfect accuracy. So it really makes sense to give it that huge cost, huge benefit style thing. I actually think that's actually a pretty good the scythe beam, or the scythe. Damn it, you made me do it. The scalpel beam and the multi shot. Actually, I think work really, really well as examples for weapon variants. All the disruptor weapon variants are pretty good. I mean, they're not hugely different, but they allow you to play slightly differently. They give you slightly different strengths with the disruptor, but with the frigate, they are drastically different and lead you to play in drastically different kind of ways. So I think those are really, really excellent to see. I want to see more stuff go in that route.
I want to
like
have
how we've seen
scalpels
the
on the
last one.
hunter.
Scalpels on the hunter.
Yeah, instead of the fast cannon, which is basically useless anyway.
Actually, I don't know how long you guys have been playing.
I think 4 scalpels from the front of a hunter would look amazing.
It would actually. But way back when I started, which was the second technical alpha test. Like the basically as soon as they were allowing people from the public to start playing, the original hunter actually had hit scan beam style weapons instead of a cannon. They were these green beams that would go out and zap the enemy ship, and I remember writing this huge post about, no, this is wrong, this is terrible. Also, blink is the devil, and you shouldn't have it.
On every
Well,
I've
listen to one
seen
of
that in
those.
the potato space video.
Yeah. Potato space? Oh yeah,
The 6-month development video
Yeah.
on the YouTube channel, and
There
the first minute is basically potato space.
It is.
And honestly, after seeing this, I want to have a potato space event.
That would be pretty cool. Or throwback skins that are just like super cheap but super blocky. Like basically just the hitbox, with a little bit of skinning on it.
Something
as a
like
skin.
what I think World of Tanks did for April Fools with the
Yes.
the 8-bit tanks.
Yes, like that.
There's also a potato side client for Planet Side.
Potato. Really?
Yes,
It's
it
actually
makes everything look really horrible. It has about the graphics detail of TIE Fighter,
Dang, I want to see that.
but in a higher resolution.
I want to see that now. I know there's for Smite. This is something that not a lot of people play. There's one of the characters. They have a Nintendo 64 themed skin, so it's just super low poly, and it's actually pretty awesome. Actually, that'd be cool. What kind of skins would you guys like to see? Just like in general. Personally, I'd like to see some like high fantasy style stuff where ships are made of like crystal and have like towers and shit on them.
I want a side
I
duck
wanna see
Reaper.
Yes, I Duck Reaper.
I want to see organic ships,
Organic
bioships like Tyranids or Formic ships.
Those would work great as their own, not as a skin, but as their own line. Although
Yeah.
you could do versions of them.
I don't know. I kind of like to see a skin for the hunter, like a legendary skin that makes it look like the hunter came out of hell itself,
Where everything
like all black and on fire.
yeah, everything's all fiery and stuff. That would actually be pretty awesome. The dread ship hunter, where it shoots fire and it's got a gaping hole in the side and
Join a game, everyone sees you, they just start leaving.
El Diablo!
and it would be called the Rainbow Dawskin.
No,
There's
you
actually a
need to do a
rainbow
proper rainbow skin for Rain.
They do.
I give you my pink assassin already.
Oh, right. We didn't look at this on the balance passes, but the assassin had a nerf, or not a nerf, a buff.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
cooldown
yeah.
on the blink is 20 seconds. They forgot to include what it used to be as, so it's from to 20 seconds. The decoy lifespan has been increased, or decreased, sorry,
Wow.
and the weapon accuracy has been improved.
Good.
And shield decoy got changed to quick decoy.
So you have to use it as a reaction thing instead of something you can basically placeable cover instead.
Well, it's functionally almost identical to the old shield decoy, except instead of having a crap load of health, it has half the health of a regular decoy, so it doesn't do the cover thing very well.
Mm-hmm.
But it still has the 3K range, and instead it's got, I think, 5 seconds off of its cooldown from the standard.
Mm-hmm.
It had a 90-second cooldown. Now it's 40 seconds.
Yeah, but the standard went from 60 to 45, so you're only getting 5 seconds off at the cost of a third of the range of the standard. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I think that's gonna see play anytime soon. Yeah, I think it's now. It had been because the old standard decoy was 60 and the jump decoy was 90. I'd actually started playing around with running standard decoy on a hunter and then, picked up phantom and didn't need to bother. But I had been running standard decoy and regular rockets because the regular rockets were able to more reliably hit in the faster meta.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Phantom came out and kind of went, oh, well, here's that ship so you can have both. But I was noticing that having it at 60, I mean, you're using decoy the same, whether it's the jump decoy or the standard, for the same situations. You don't go quite as far, but it's up far more often. So it's happening, and you actually can make the choice. Well, I guess I'm going to throw it out here and see if I can distract that enforcer while he comes down the lane, so me and my buddy can go take care of his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually really enjoying it. But now with the change, I mean, it's a 5 second difference between the standard decoy and jump decoy as well as the quick. And it's 10-second base difference between quick and jump.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I'm going to go with the one that has the almost 7,500 range and not the one with the 3,000 range,
Yeah.
because that's too small a window to actually make it worth the range. I mean, it's the same problem Hunter has with its cannons.
Mm-hmm. That is definitely a concern for the assassin, because while the assassin can be super good, it's gotten a lot more difficult to play over these past several months. I mean, it used to dominate everything, and now you can do good, but it's a lot tougher to do so.
And being an assassin player, I really like where it's at now. I mean, it was to the point where before the health nerf and the size buff and the blink cooldown nerf, I would be sitting at 500 health, and a full health hunter would jump in, and I would jump in because there was a pretty good chance I could kill him without him ever hitting me,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a lot of bit of ridiculous. And now it feels like I'll be sitting at a forward base and I'll be debating, do I actually want to engage this thing? Even Corvettes, I'll be sitting here thinking, do I actually want to engage it? Is it worth the risk of his teammate jumping in behind him while I'm firing and killing me, because I'm only at half health and I'm going to eat the 1K explosion from the Corvette going off? So it's not just an automatic, oh, there's a target, let me smash it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more thinking involved. I really like how much harder it has been to get the same ridiculous scores that I had been pulling down previously.
Mm.
But Lone, you're
Finally, a
we're
ship.
also a big assassin. How are you feeling about it?
Oh, I'm actually kind of fine with it. I tend to stick with the range blink, or not the range blink, the range drone.
The
Range.
jump decoy?
Yeah, that's the one. I don't know. I usually wait patiently till they get on top of me. Usually after a teammate breaks their armor, and then I go in and take the kill. It's a good way to kill them quickly.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's become an excellent teamwork ship instead of a I'm going to solo your entire team
Yeah.
ship.
Although I still get accused all the time of being useless. I've had a game where I flew through their front line before the rest of our team engaged, killed their Corvette and assassin, while the other four on my team died to their 3 combat ships, and they all yelled at me for being useless and just standing there cloaked the whole time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's a new player thing, but I get where they're feeling that the assassin is selfish. If you hadn't seen Assassin beforehand, yeah, I could see you feeling that Assassin was selfish, but they are very much a team player now.
Yeah. That is
The
good
game.
to see.
The game's shaping up to be a lot more team oriented. Like
Mhm.
it's getting to the point where it's a challenge to fight ships on your own, one on one. And if you
Yeah.
add a second one, you're probably gonna die.
I honestly think that's been why we've been gravitating towards Enforcer as a community, is because Enforcer is one of the few ships, because of its boom and zoom and the way its cooldowns and damage and everything works, where we can get in on 2 or 3 people, get the damage, kill one person, and bounce. Yeah, and I'm referring to a pub match here.
Mhm.
And bounce, whereas like an assassin, you're not going to be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
They have to be pretty awful for you to get away with that. Hunter, you can kind of do it if you're range blink, but you getting in and there's tricks to it. But of all the ships, really, Enforcer is the one that does that the best, and I think that's why we're seeing everyone playing it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is in turn generating the complaint. A lot of players are having that Enforcer is overpowered, and it's because they're seeing people who are just better players start gravitating towards those ships because it lets them, I guess, abuse their extra skill over their opponents. It's more rewarding for being better.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of the few ships that still works if your team is complete shit.
Yeah. It really
To say
is.
it that way.
Yeah.
Most
the real
other
question-
ships just can't do anything.
But the real question is, are you really a better player if you're abandoning your entire team just to get kills?
Not really, because it doesn't win you the match. But it's a ship that can carry very well because it's fast. It can cap very fast. It can capture stuff. It's even a real threat to the base at low levels, and it can single-handedly kill ships. So, yeah, the range blink hunter is the other ship that can carry very well on its own.
I hate that thing so much.
I think the
Quickly.
cooldown is a bit ridiculous. I made a bit
Yeah.
of maths, and did you know that a range blink hunter on level 9 is moving with an average speed of almost 3,000 meters per second?
What?
That completely outshines the
That's-
Equalizer. It's by
Yeah, I was
far
going to say
the
that's
fastest ship
what,
in the game.
6 times faster than Equalizer's base forward movement.
Yeah, the thing is, range blink on level 8 has a cooldown of about 12 seconds and brings you 15,000 meters, so you can do the math on your own.
Yeah.
That-
So
That's
we probably
hilarious.
need to have a look at that, and
Yeah, I think it shouldn't go
Golden
down
Chalice
below
is going to
20
be
seconds.
ticked off at us, but yeah, that probably needs toned down a bit.
Uh,
I thought it felt a little much, but it was always it's one guy, if you defend right, it's not that big an issue. You can hold him with the forward base chokes, but yeah, I mean,
Range Blink
Hearing
Hunter
that
and
map,
Disruptor.
it does seem a little much.
Range Blink Hunter and Disruptor is a very annoying combination.
I actually have a video up on my YouTube channel of where I do nothing but blink around as a range blink hunter and cap stations. I went
Yeah.
past that entire round except for one kill, which I accidentally got.
Yeah.
That's
Pacifist Hunter.
I don't think I've ever come across a range. Maybe I'm just lucky or unlucky, but I've never come across a range blink hunter that did anything other than try and fight, blink away when they almost died, and be generally completely ineffective.
The
I'm
Range
playing
Blink
Range
Hunter
Blink
of Iron
Hunter.
Lords is a hilariously good capping machine.
I'm playing Range Blink Hunter a lot, and I'm usually the kill leader in the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 30 captures in my video.
Also, the Heavy Cannon Hunter can actually do up to 3,000, 3,500 damage per shot if it hits with all 4 cannons, which makes the Range Blink Hunter a very good kill stealer. I had a lot of kills where I actually saw, there's a disruptor in 16, 70,000 meters away, and he's jumping. Just blink to him, shoot once, maybe twice, and he's dead. That works very well if you have the situational awareness to pull that off.
That's
And
terrifying.
if it's the right range.
I'm gonna have nightmares about range blink hunters now.
I honestly think that range blink cooldown shouldn't go down below 20 seconds because 20 seconds is just ridiculous. It's just silly.
And before range blink is nerfed into the ground.
You can
range blink should go the way of the VLR.
you can cross an entire lane in about 40 seconds. Even the Enforcer has trouble to pull that off with long boost. That's really hard. That's a really hefty ship.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm okay with bringing the VLR back if you are.
Honestly,
I'm actually for bringing it back. I think we can bring it back. Obviously, it needs toned down a bit, but I was having the thought if we toned down its projectile speed to, and I want to say, I came up with the number 15K, which is about half the projectile speed of Railgun and a little bit less than the LR, and then you tone down the bonus damage from the range and increase its base damage by a little bit, so it's not quite as excessive. The only things you're going to be hitting from the opposite end of the lane with projectile that slow are going to be heavies, and you're already going to really dominate a heavy. Anything else is going to be luck more than actual skill.
Well, there's new snipers.
The problem is we already have the LR cannon, and having a VLR that's basically the same doesn't make any sense. The VLR cannon, the concept made some sense when the LR cannon was a hit scan beam weapon, but now it doesn't make any sense anymore because it would be just an even more specialized variant of the LR cannon, and yeah, you wouldn't take it because it's worthless against fast ships.
But I could see it. I think it would be more of the difference between a proper skill shot and then something more along the lines of, say, Nidalee Spear, where it's a very niche weapon ability to refer to the spear. And if it's a target that's right on top of you, it's okay. I mean, you're going to want to hit them with it because that's how you're going to defend yourself. But that optimal sweet spot is still fairly difficult to hit. You have to do something like, be in a bush they don't know about or behind terrain or something, or they're usually going to dodge it. I mean, it's a skill shot with a really long range.
The thing is, it's very similar to the LR cannon, and we don't need a second LR cannon.
See, I don't think of it very similar. The LR has a very consistent damage over its range. I mean, you're actually going to do less damage outside of your optimal and not more. and you're
Yeah,
going
but
to be doing.
how you want to balance it? It would have hilarious damage at range to justify the drop off you get for close range.
No,
And then
I'm
people
saying
would cry because it would just rip through flagships and destroyers, which the LR
so.
cannon
You
already
have
does.
the base weapon of it. If the LR full charge off my head is 200 DPS, so you have it base damage. So a target within say 5k of you, you're going to hit it for 150, maybe 130 DPS equivalent, however you want to calculate that. And at a target over 35k, you're going to be hitting for 220, 230. And at a target beyond, say, 45k is when you're going to see the bigger numbers because it's going to be really hard,
Yes,
impossible
but then
to
then you
reliably
have
hit
the
somebody.
then you have the issues. You either won't hit the target, you will only hit flagships at that distance, or other heavies, which you can already pretty much dominate with the LR cannon, or you would have enough precision to hit kind of medium ships, and then it would be overpowered. Because we had that with the VLR cannon, I could actually three-shot disruptors on the other edge of the lane before they could take cover behind an asteroid. And that was just silly.
But that VLR had a really fast projectile compared to what we have now.
Yeah, do you guys
Yes.
remember the like initial release of the VLR cannon where it only had like
Yeah, and it was completely worthless because you couldn't
Yeah.
hit anything that was not a flagship. And that's the problem. You can't properly balance it. It will be either worthless because the damage will not be sufficient enough to judge taking it instead of the LR cannon, or it will be completely overpowered.
See, and I
That's the problem.
disagree. I think there is a window, and we can find
What
it.
I
I don't
could
think it would be too
actually
difficult.
what I could actually imagine, and I would find that very interesting, would be an AOE cannon that the projectile explodes at the range of your target and does a huge area of effect damage, maybe even a concuss effect.
Something like the Infiltrator's ion combo.
the Osprey torpedo.
No,
That
I
too,
thought about I thought about a concuss effect similar to the brawler, like just huge explosion
Mm-hmm.
and some sort of area damage that is not too high, but also not nice to get hit by.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem with that is if you're hitting one chip, it's going to feel useless because you're not going to be doing enough single target damage to make it worthwhile compared to the LR or anything. If you're hitting two ships, that's probably going to be its sweet spot, but you're not going to be able to hit two ships too often outside of when they're camping a mining station. And then I have concerns about the splash hitting somebody hiding behind a mining station and issues with that. But then you're going to hit situations where you're at a gas fight and your team
Yeah.
takes two shots from this weapon and the sniper ends up doing roughly 12,000 damage in two shots because he got to hit three or four of you.
The other variant would be a beam weapon, which I would find very interesting on a sniper.
Mm-hmm.
Like something you have to keep on your target, but that would probably be more something for another ship.
Yeah, I think
And
I've
you
pitched
could,
something like that before, and the response was that's something they would rather see on a different ship.
yeah. What you could also make is a cone firing weapon that does less damage the further it travels.
A shotgun.
Basically, like a huge laser beam that feathers up and gets weaker the farther it travels.
Oh, so like a bolt of plasma where the envelope kind of collapses as it goes farther and it spreads out, kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. I just thought about basically a beam, like a flashlight beam.
Well, that would still be the beam weapon.
Yeah,
Oh
just
yeah, no, I get what you're saying now.
Just a single shot that has a cone. That basically has a cone where it does damage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit something very close by, it will receive significant damage because the beam is very focused. And if you're shooting on ships that are farther away, you will probably hit 4 or 5, but you will not do that much damage. That could be balanced.
That would certainly be interesting to just play around with as a concept.
You could also make a shotgun variant, which shoots more projectiles, but there you have the problem to how many bullets would you need to reliably hit something at distance?
Honestly,
Would probably be like 10,000 bullets, and then you get server networking problems.
honestly, what I would like to, I've actually imagined what a AOE shotgun sniper round might be. I would honestly imagine it being something like the MIRV, where you have like one main big projectile, and then as it goes, it shoots out smaller projectiles from that. But always that main projectile, that would be like half of your damage. So like even if nothing else hit, you'd do 50% of your possible damage, and then like if you shot somebody and it hadn't let go any of the projectiles, that would be full damage. At closer range, so that way you could make it shotgun-esque while still giving it the sniper feel.
Yeah, that would basically be exactly the same as the cone of fire, with just
With
it matters if you hit a prime target or not.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that could work too. The other variant would be a support weapon that disables ships it hits, but does not do that much damage.
mm-hmm.
That could also be pretty nasty.
There was something that wasn't it the frigate that was supposed to have a taser beam weapon
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
All right. We've been going for almost 2 hours.
It's a while.
It has been quite a while. Do you guys want to continue, or would this be a good point to wrap it up?
Well, we gotta save stuff for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the next one will probably be in a month or so. I mean, we gotta give time for more things to talk about, and just for news to happen.
Matchmaking.
Yes, for matchmaking to maybe be a thing. But all right, I suppose that is as good a point as any to leave it. Thank you again to Seraphine, Dryad, the Lone Ranger, and Iodun for joining us. Well, yeah, for showing up today and opining on a multitude of topics. So thank you guys.
Anytime.
Yep. Thanks for hosting it.
All right, and with
but-
that.
By the way, sorry, I found the potato side thingy. It's in the Twitch chat.
I have that up. I'm going to be watching it here presently. But that will be all for today. And yeah, thank you for joining us for the first ever Duckworks podcast. I hope this continues to be awesome. Bye.
Side.
Oh.
Sigh.
Side.